Good evening, everyone.
All right, everyone, thanks. As usual, start with English with Frank, and we'll have Spanish questions after. So, Doug, go ahead.
Frank, you talked about on Thursday, I think, you needed a team effort to secure a win. You got goals from Marco, Hyman, assists from Pitty. Is this the kind of effort result you wanted to see tonight?
Yes, of course. You cannot replace Joseph, so other players have to step in. Already two times in a row, Emerson Hyndman and Ezequiel Barco, did a good job to replace that goals, and so that's very positive. And also, I think Pity really played really well. And of course, he created the first goal. Was like 90% was his goal, so that was really nice to see. And but I think overall the whole team, did a great effort. And I know we can play much better, but it starts first with really work very hard, and it was sometimes quite difficult for us. They really played in a block, and to create our own space and everything. We were difficult to find the free man, and we had some moments. For example, the great pass when we could find PT and then directly to Barco 1-against-1 in the first half, and yeah, that is what you're looking for. But it's so rare, when you find those spaces. And I don't say we have to be more patient, but I think we can. The tempo can be better, I think, from left to right, and then try to, pull them more to the sides, and then suddenly, you want that splitting pass in between. And I think we could do better, but still, we are just on our way. A lot of new players. I think we have like 4 players who started the last game against Toronto. So that means, everybody, has to feel his position, and also with his teammates, and that takes time. And so last year we played 1-1 against Cincinnati, and now we have 6 points instead of 1 point. So that's the big difference, and it's positive, but that we have to improve. That's for sure.
What was the expectation from you to Barco? It looked like his runs were a lot more positive. Obviously, without Joseph there, he had to do that. You had 2 central defenders for Cincinnati that were pretty. I mean, they're older, they're slow. Was there an intention for him to get forward, to get behind the lines?
Yes, because especially when you play against a really block, you have to not every time because they're waiting for those balls, in between, and that we are frustrated and try to make more risk in those passing, and then they won, and we were also focused on making runs behind their last line, also because of the center backs, but more because when you play against a block like that, you have the space where the most space is behind them. And so like Lawrence Wyke, he opened a lot of times directly to Jake Mulroney, and that is what you want. And then you want directly the 1-against-1. And I think if they really understand, hey, I make an unselfish run and then free Jake, but also, also for yourself. And I think Barco did really well, to put a lot of energy, to make those runs, and it opens up the game a little bit. And he had some good runs, and unfortunately, he didn't score this first great run.
Can you provide any information on Wyke's injury, and how much concern do you have now going to Club America, Mexico City, with so many center backs and defenders missing? And what's going to be a tough
he had
environment?
quite a knock on his head, and it was a bit swollen. So and he was a little bit dizzy. He couldn't really see clear. So I don't know is a concussion or not, but it seems like a little bit. But still, I don't have the really the end result. But we have to wait for that, of course. And but hopefully, it's just a knock on his head, and that's it. But that concerns, of course, because then you lose an extra body, in the back, and so hopefully he's gonna be all right, tomorrow, and he can join us. But we have to wait for that.
how do you think Jan and Campbell did today?
I think starting with Adam Jan, he worked his bollocks off. He was running everywhere and had some good combinations. And for him, it's also new. Playing in almost a full stadium, 70,000 people, and also the turf. He has to get used to that. Also, of course, yesterday we trained the first time, just 45 minutes on it. So, I think he can be very proud, what he showed today. And great debut. Also for George Campbell, of course. He's very young, but when you're in the roster, you have to be ready. If not, I don't have players just to be fun to be in the roster. No, if you are in the roster and you're 17, it doesn't matter. You have to be ready. And I think he looked a little bit nervous, but I think he can also be proud on his debut. And now he have that debut, and he can look forward to hopefully a lot more.
Looking ahead to the CONCACAF Champions League game in Estadio Azteca, what is the kind of confidence level that this team has, considering all the injuries at the back, and then obviously without Joseph, just the confidence that the team has going in there?
Yeah, well, we have to really play as a team, and we did it today. And every game we have to show it, and I think we have enough quality on the pitch, to hopefully get a good result in Azteca. It's going to be difficult. They have already one day more rest than us. The height is also. The attitude is also big. Can have an influence, So we have to be really clever, not to do crazy things, and also the recovery, already start today to be ready for Wednesday, and there has to be enough. But it's going to be a tough game, that's for sure. But hopefully we can get a good result there.
Now that you've been forced into making all these debuts for Wyke and Campbell and I guess Rossetto a little bit tonight, does it make you less nervous about putting these guys in games in the future and starts or off the bench than
Well,
before?
if you dig in my history a little bit, I'm never hesitating to put young players in. When they do quite well in training, then just show it also, in the real game, and so. It's good for them that they have already that experience now, and it gives me also confidence that I can do it, and I will not hesitate it another time again. So for me, again, when you're in your roster, you're available for to start or to come in, and so I'm very happy that they already have that feeling, already.
Frank, do you sense, when you lose a player like Joseph, do you sense the rest of the team sort of rallying a chance that they can step up and show maybe greater abilities than maybe they would have been able to show with Joseph out there?
Well, that's always the case, when some important player, is injured or is not there anymore. Other players feel that responsibility, to step in that gap, and I think Pity is one of those players. Also, Barco, have the feeling, hey, we are the guys who, have to lift up this team and to be creative, but also make the score goals, but also in the positive way towards the team, and I think they do a great job.
Frank, so obviously you have Joseph out for a while, and then Miles is still coming back. You're careful to risk guys because your bench is already pretty thin.
Yeah.
At what point is it too early to focus on maybe one tournament where you want your strongest lineup?
Yeah, you don't want to take a really big risk because we just started, what you already mentioned. So we have to see. Of course, we want to have a great result in Azteca, but we're not gonna take risk with any players. And of course, for us, the MLS Cup is of course, normally the most important one, because then you can play CONCACAF again next season. But yeah, we try to get as far as possible in the CONCACAF, and yeah, we have to wait how it goes. But it limits our possibilities to rotate, and it makes the chance that you get other injuries much higher. So we have to really be very careful to our players and listen to them, and also take them in their own protection.
Last two in English, Jarrett and Doug.
Jake Mulroney talked to us after the Motagua game that he wanted to keep improving his defense, especially as he's playing that wingback role. What's been your thoughts on him over the last 2 games and his work rate on that side?
Well, his work rate is unbelievable. He tracked back 1 time, 2 times he recovered the ball, and yeah, he has that engine, and hopefully, when we are a little bit more common in the way we want to play, that he can more tribute, in the 1-against-1 action with his opponent, and because I think that is his real strength, with his speed and with the combination with his teammates, that put him, away behind the last line. But I think he did a great job, and because he's not really a fullback, but yeah, I'm very happy with him, what he's showing right now, and he can only be better in that.
Last one, Doug.
Kind of a big picture question, but your first 2 wins, one against an expansion team, another that is going through a tumultuous offseason, to say the least. With that and all the injuries, what have you learned about the team so far from these first 4 games?
Well, that we are, for me, the most important thing that the ambience in the team is really, really good, and that we have confidence with every player who starts, and that we know, hey, this is our quality, and try to show that every game, and understand that, hey, if we have to play a little bit reserved, we can do that. If we want to play really offensive, we can do that, and so I think we are much further than last season. But we have to work still every day very hard, and also as staff, we have to let them every time know, this is nice, 6 points, but we have to work every time, to get those 3 points, and that costs energy. We need everyone, and so I'm very hopeful that a lot of players will return. Manuel Castro, we have an extra body, in the CONCACAF with Manuel Castro, because he's available. So that's also good news. So hopefully he can also tribute, hopefully for a great season. Thanks, guys.